What's the most private thing you're willing to admit? I'm a middle-aged mom who will sneak to Target and buy toys for myself like dolls. Not collectibles, just toys. I hide them from my husband and just basically look at them when I'm alone. I think it's because I grew up poor and didn't have much, so now that I'm making okay money, I'm spending it on random stuff in secret and I feel incredibly weird and guilty because of it. I have no goals. We are supposed to figure out who we want to be and what we want from our lives. It's almost an expectation that we have to want something out of life, but I have never wanted to be anything, and I have never wanted to do anything. I have no passions. I don't think I'm depressed though. I've always been this way. I do have a job which is okay, and a family I love, but I'm pretty much just going to keep existing until I don't. I often find myself anticipating arguments and then will proceed to spend minutes to hours building a defense case against said hypothetical confrontation, only for the confrontation never to materialize. It's often not even with anyone I already know. It could be a judgmental remark from a complete stranger that I've yet to even meet. But boy, when that day comes, if ever, I'll be prepared to drop knowledge bombs on them that will make them wish they never tried to come at me. Until then, I'll just live in a constant state of stress manufactured by my own brain. I'm an extreme overthinker. Like, my girlfriend won't open a message of mine for a few hours and I'll be fully in my head thinking of all the bad things that could be happening. Or I'll show up late to work and I'll be terrified that I'm going to be fired for the whole day. I never act on those thoughts because I always have that little bit of sanity telling me that I'm overthinking, but it's still there and it effing sucks. In the past week, my grandfather, who recently suffered a stroke, had a fall and hit his head. He has a doc's appointment coming up to tell us whether he will have lasting neurological damage. My mother, who takes care of him, recently had surgery to remove one of her kidneys due to complications with diabetes. 2 days before my grandfather's fall, she found out from her nephrologist that her other kidney is failing. If her health takes a dive, she'll be unable to care for him, and it will fall on me to be there for both of them. I live several hours away, and after years of struggle, I'm only just now getting my own life in order with a job I like and making decent money. 3 days ago, I had a doctor's appointment and found out my blood pressure is high enough to be cause for concern. Heart disease runs on my father's side, and he died of a heart attack when he was 43. Apparently that's not uncommon for the men on that side of the family. My father was never really a part of my life, so I'm only finding some of this out now, in my 30s. According to my mother, a pediatrician once told her I have a slight heart murmur. Didn't know that until this week either. To top it all off, my current partner recently had her yearly checkup and the doctor discovered multiple masses in both of her breasts. It will be a week or two before we find out if they are benign or not. Cancer runs in her family, and she has been in remission for several years. I'm so scared and so angry, and I don't know what to do. None of this is fair. I'm fake 90% of the time, especially around friends and at work. I pretend to be happy, funny, silly, and like I'm okay. I'm deeply not okay and crave being alone because it's the only time I can take the mask off. I'm who I wish I actually was around other people, but it's not real. I'm a 33 going on 34 virgin who has never kissed or even been on a date. Despite the stereotype, I'm not obese. I don't play video games, nor do I hate women or subscribe to any extreme ideology. I try to take care of myself, and I have a professional life where I try to do well, and from what I observed people like me around, I was just a really lame A-class clown throughout high school. Then I went to college, which was so close to where I lived I could go there from my parents' house, so there was no incentive for me to move out or develop actual social life. Strict parenting didn't help. I was never invited to parties, whether in high school or college, and did not have friends, just people I hung out with at school. And by the time I entered college, I was too embarrassed of my inexperience to even try dating. Why would a woman teach me all the basic stuff? What's in it for her, is what I started thinking around the age of 19, and what I kept telling myself for the last 15 years. At some point I just started drifting through life and never stopped. I can't forgive my mom for allowing my stepfather to molest me as a small child. 4. Ninyo. It went on for years. She ignored it. She doesn't take any responsibility for the struggles I've had to go through. Because of it, she thinks I'm a failure, even though I'm doing really well for myself. All things considered. Recovering addict. Thanks to hard work, the right partner and lots of education, I have a healthy marriage and sex life, but it was so hard, harder than it had any right to be. I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive her. I really wonder what my life would have been like. Seems like a lot of people here are lonely. So am I. Anyone want to be friends? I know I could use one. I'm not very good, but sometimes I play chess online with my brother. Anyone want to play? Or chat? Or whatever. I had a little family. Me, my fiance and my tuckates. It didn't end up working out. Now I'm alone in the world. I miss having a family so much. Fighting through depression for 6 years now. After losing my wife during childbirth, I've thoroughly convinced myself as both daddy and mommy. I have said I'm fine at least 4 million times, until I have stupidly embraced it. All everyone sees on the outside is the strong back and shoulders I have, but nobody sees the pain, hears my inner cries, sees the tears I hide behind my smile, sees the weakness that I really am behind the 15,000 different masks I wear. Masquerading my weakness is a man for being depressed. The only thing that keeps me alive every day is my daughter. I know deep down that if I stop chasing and putting effort in the relationships I have in my life, they'll quickly fall apart, because people never really see me as someone worth being close to. I'm just an afterthought, so I always put 95% of the effort into them, just so that I don't end up alone. Oh, also, I've never been in a healthy romantic relationship and have been single 3+ years. So there's that too. I feel the exact same way. I have always described myself as a temporary friend. Once I'm not easily accessible, aka working longer hours, move some ways away, tending to my personal responsibilities, everyone always leaves. I know they enjoyed my friendship, but it's never enough to the point of making it a constant in their life. I don't know if I'm just not able to connect deeply with others or what, but I try to, and it always hurts. I'm married, and I secretly obsess over the thought that he will leave me too if anything happens. Even though I'm over 20, I still have the imagination of a kid. I have multiple in an inspired world, where I'm a main character in my head that I created. And whenever I get bored, or I'm just doing nothing, or walking in the street, I imagine scenarios, fight scenes, love stories and character backgrounds. I wonder if I'm the only one doing that, or if other people would do the same. I'm a high-functioning alcoholic. Get help soon. It doesn't last forever. Drank every day for 15 years. Would drink a pint of vodka before work and be just peachy. Then one day everything changed, and I haven't been the same since. Been in and out of recovery for 10 years now. Now I'm divorced, lost my house, no custody of my kids, broke, no vehicle, and live with my parents. Detox after so long is not only terribly uncomfortable, but deadly. Good luck. I'm talkative and get people to laugh quite a bit, but the attention makes me so nervous that I shake. I generally hate everything I say. I just have no filter and can't stop talking when I'm nervous. So, the cycle continues, and I just don't stop talking. I also feel like I don't understand social cues. It's always embarrassing when I think about it later. This'll probably get lost in the thread, but occasionally I'll wonder if I would have been happier alone. Brief instances of not caring about my kids or my partner or my career. Just imagining if it was just me, would I be happy/happier? I don't want to lose everything. I'm not actively seeking ways to restart or leave it all behind. It's just a thought that crosses my mind for a split second and completely unprovoked. My partner is aware of it, and she is constantly helping me through the moments of vulnerability, and it's something that has been brought up in therapy, but the fear it causes is paralyzing for a good chunk of time after it happens. This is gonna sound edgy as hell, but I feel completely detached from life. I think because I was suicidal for a prolonged period, I just sort of shrugged my way out of that. I have a baby and a fiance and a house, and I think I can act normal enough to be normal and be happy, at least at times. But there are moments of realization that I could walk out and feel nothing, or I could become a monster and feel nothing, except that I was maybe finally in control of my choices. Just a weird feeling that is hard to put into words. Thank you for making me think more on it. This is gonna sound really weird, but I've become homeless 3 separate times, and each time it's like my mind just switches into survival mode, and it feels awesome. Don't get me wrong. Being homeless for a prolonged period of time is not very fun at all, but there's something so exhilarating about the first week or two after hitting the streets that just feels like you finally have total control and freedom over your life. Maybe I'm just a nut job. Oh damn, I'm 51. I don't feel old, but even after I've scrapped, fought hard, saved, and did everything I was supposed to, yeah, I don't feel well. I'm financially independent, not rich, but I'm okay now. But I drink an 18-pack of cheap American beer every day of my life. I had for over 20 years. I wish I didn't. I'm not even sure I got here. I wish I could stop. I think it's too late for me now. But if there's anyone out there who struggles, please do anything you can to start living. If you think you might have a drinking problem, do anything you can to stop now. Or at least slow down. Sorry to be such a bummer.